For too long has there been a shadow cast upon our society, cast over top of Papatūānuku, Ranginui, and clamping, hiding, engulfing. That same hand is one which mirrors our society. To understand, we must look at the symbolic nature of a hand. The veins which lead to our hand are the whakapapa that makes us, that connects us, never alone. The symbolic palm tells our future, shows that we are one or not, symbolizes our society. We all, no matter how we look, act, or see, are human at the core. Then our fingers, not too different from the great tōtara, reach out, all different or unique or special, one not the same, representing our communities. At the core we are the same, but at the tips we may differ. Nā mati mati no te ringa ko tahi. When we have the fingers of one hand in unison, we can achieve greatness. When we work together from different communities, we can thrive. We can pick something up with ease. Now, I may not have been born here in Aotearoa. Instead, at the age of 8, followed my mum's whakapapa home. To get home, we travelled through the back street to Spain, to the wilderness of Vietnam. And for the first time, I had some understanding of racial cohesion, racial celebration. Like Spanish poet Tomoso Alonso so famously stated, "Tal vez sea verdad que un corazón es lo que mueve el mundo." Maybe it's true that a heart is what moves the world. To achieve racial diversity, we need to embrace other perspectives. Now, I believe that Aotearoa was the place to thrive with race relations, a country all communities, all fingers flourished and lifted each other up. That Haere sign, which stood so tall and proud as I entered our home, resonates so strongly in my mind. I believed it was, until my best friend was told she wasn't funny because she was Māori. Until I was 12 and overheard my friend's dad making a joke about a Chinese man's ability to see. Until early this year, when I witnessed someone being told to return to their own country, even though this is their home. Countless times that race relations were fractured for some indecipherable reason. To understand racial division in our home of Aotearoa, we have to look back down our veins, look back at where it began, to Tiriti or Waitangi. In 1840, Māori rangatira met with Crown representatives to sign our founding document, the birth of our so-called partnership, the shaking of our hands. This single document exploited Māori. Fingers are created alongside each other, fingers which will not be equal. The first legislation that was passed was called the British New Zealand Constitution Act of 1852. This act meant that all laws and customs in Britain would apply here in Aotearoa. From that single action, Māori were swept aside, one finger pushed the other down, silenced, abused, instead blasted over by a white colonial way of life. Over the next 2 centuries, the same themes of oppression were continued. Te reo Māori was beaten at Tamariki. 39% of Māori children live in material hardship, not even having the basics to live. 95% of Māori land was stolen in less than 100 years. This so-called partnership, shaking of the hands, was not a mutual agreement, but a sick, aggressive form of oppression. Māori scholar Evan Parker Smith strongly summarised it by saying that Māori are disadvantaged in wider society because they are deculturalised, leading to loss of identity. Historically, this oppression hasn't just been used against Māori. All we have to do is look down the lines of our palm, our history, whether we look at the dawn raids of 1974, where Pacifica people were made to feel like their finger didn't belong on our hand, or March 20th, 2019 in Ototahi, where a white supremacist mercilessly murdered 51 of our Muslim brothers, sisters, our friends, our neighbours. The moments and months after these hatred attacks was the closest I've ever seen racial cohesion in Aotearoa. Every aspect of our hands working in unison. We were one, the fingers supported by their tendons, the muscle, the blood and the veins. Not only what you could see, but our society united against these hatred attacks. Ka ora pio ia koe, ka ora koe ia au. So why does the suffering and oppression of a specific group in society affect the progress and well-being of the whole? Or when our fingers are broken, too busy oppressing the other, how can we weave our united future? How can we live in harmony, expect to grab a hold of greatness? We can't. To be able to move forward in our society, we need to respect all cultures, embrace diversity, all aspects of our hands working in unison with respect and aroha. Aotearoa is known for being a nation of pioneers, one of the first countries to allow women to vote, one of the first to legalise gay marriage, why don't we become the first to eradicate racism? So how can every member of our society find their role in the work of eradicating racism and building social cohesion? Well, it starts off with what we can't see, the bones, us as individuals. We need to acknowledge our own biases because nobody's perfect, and the hardest and easiest thing to change is our own minds. Next time you realize your own biases, think, is this right? How can I do better? Individuals need to learn from each other. Philosophies like Tohu kana teina, creating a harmonious environment rather than forcing a hierarchical structure. Every member of our society needs to be open to learning about different cultures and ways of life. Don't be scared to have a talk to your neighbour about what Ramadan is. The one way to change is through knowledge. As the Rawari Waititi so passionately believed, we must consistently bring this corridor to the top of everyone's consciousness. Haere tokumua takumuri koia whai. Be a leader of knowledge, not a follower. Then it moves to the tendons connecting us all, our communities. Communities need to call out and no longer laugh. Denormalize hoha jokes which people make. Tell them that it's not okay, it is not funny. Our Race Relations Commissioner Meng Foon so powerfully stated, we all have responsibility to foster inclusive communities. We must speak out against racism. We need a regulated social media platform that can provide a forum for all voices to be heard, no matter age, gender, sexual orientation, culture, or race. A place where people can speak for themselves and work together to achieve real solutions. No te ororo, noku te ororo, ora ai te iwi. With your food basket and my food basket, the people will thrive. Then to our blood pulsing all around our society, we need to embrace Māori culture and other cultures. This looks like actually passing legislation that acknowledges Te Ao Māori, whanaungatanga, kaupapa Māori, embrace and change our data parliament dress codes and policies in order to take in and respect different cultures and communities. We need to spend time actually learning how to pronounce names properly. It's not Whangarei, it's Whangarei. Respect goes many ways. We need to acknowledge Te Tiriti and find ways to incorporate in our society through forms of good governance or other. No finger, no hand is born with hate. That is what they learn or don't learn. In schools, we need reforms. We need our real, authentic historical experiences to be taught. All of these cultures are a part of us. We need to embrace this diversity. Just as we celebrate Labour Day and the other day for the first official time Matariki, why don't we create a celebration of Cultures Day? A day where all fingers of our hand can be championed and where we can call upon leaders in our community to make real policy change, changes which can achieve racial unity. Because it's not much a finger can do alone. Gestures, oaths, saying small actions, they cannot make worlds on their own. But a hand, throughout history, has shown to have the ability to build incredible inventions because people have come together to build them. We need to unite to build a world full of racial unity, acceptance, creating a hand which is open, free, with a celebration of cultures. Now is our time. Kia whakatamure te haere whakamua. I walk backwards into our future, with my eyes fixed upon our past. Tēnā koutou katoa.